Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Southern Charm, Season 7, Episode 3, A Pair and a Spare. I really didn't like the name they came up for this episode, but I enjoyed the episode itself. Hey, we got to see John Pringle without a shirt, so you know that's a good episode. What are your thoughts so far? So far I'm actually enjoying it. I wasn't sure if we had anything at first, but I don't really care. It's just kind of entertaining. So let's get into it. Let's talk about what's going on. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives of New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. So something I noticed this season is they're jumping around a lot. We're going between like the dog park to people's houses. I don't know. I think I notice it more now that I'm covering this series and I'm talking about it and then I'm having to take pictures of it. They jump around all the time. So you maybe have 3 seconds of a scene at one person's house and then you jump somewhere else. Like tonight they were jumping between the Persian party and they're jumping between the boys' night. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you get a little dizzy like I do? So let's talk about Leva. We got to see more of her this episode. What are your thoughts on her? I actually liked her a lot better this episode than I did the first one. She came on kind of strong at first and not in a great way, but this one I actually liked her. It's cool to see her home life and to see her background and, you know, to see her interacting with her mom and her kids and stuff. Did you know her son's name was Little? I thought that was his nickname. I know she kept calling him Little, but then later she tells, I think one of the girls, this is my son Little. So that's his name. So this episode we learn more that she's struggling with her work-life balance. She talks about her Persian heritage. She's decided she wants to throw this big Persian dinner so she can show the girls her heritage and what she's all about. She wants to... she said basically, and I like this line a lot, she says, I want to have this dinner to say, you're white, I'm brown, he's black, talking about her son. It's cool, don't be awkward. We also got to see more of John Pringle this episode. He went to his sister Jenny's house, and we got to see his brother-in-law Alan. He FaceTimes his sons, Quinn and Asher. Quinn, he explains that Quinn is his sweetheart, and Asher calls him a butthole. We actually see it on the FaceTime. He's calling his dad a butthole. He explains what happened with his ex. He said things went really fast. His ex's name is Heidi, and he said she was pregnant, I think within the first month of them being together. He and his ex are good friends, and they're good at co-parenting. And the kids spend spring break with him and half of summer with him. She lives back in California. Of course, he's in Charleston now. This is where he's from originally. His sister asks him about dating, and he shows her a picture of Madison. And sister said, oh, you're screwed. She's blonde. She's cute. You're screwed. So then we get to meet Leva's sister, Mona. They are very close now. She said when they were growing up, not so much. But her sister moved to America so she could practice medicine. They were living, I believe she said, in Canada before that. So they talk about the Persian dinner. They're worried about inviting Kathryn. If you remember the first episode, she and Kathryn didn't get on so well. Leva was kind of on her case because Kathryn was talking about Cameran. Cameron's Leva's best friend. You get the idea. So she calls her up and tells her, come as Persian princess, but don't show up looking like Jasmine. Kathryn thanks her for inviting her, and Leva accidentally says, I love you, before they're hanging up. And that made me laugh really hard because I've so done that. So then we see Madison at her house. She's with her 7-year-old Hudson. And we see Austen come over, and Austen's playing the role of the doting stepdad, I guess. He's helping with homework, and it was sweet to see, but I just kept thinking, like, Austen's not the brightest, he's not the sharpest crayon in the box, so, yeah, that kid probably like, no, I got this, I don't need your help, thank you. So we see Madison getting ready for a double date. She looks beautiful. I love this outfit. She's going out with Shep and Taylor. Let's talk about them for a minute. What are your thoughts? I just thought this was so weird. Shep obviously still very much has a thing for Madison. It clouds his judgment. It makes him stupid. One of the things that makes him stupid. But he just so clearly has a thing for her. And I thought it was funny here because Madison, they were asking about Shep and Taylor's relationship and is it official? And Shep's kind of like, oh, I don't know. And Madison puts him on the spot and says, why don't you make it official right now? Have the talk. And she said, he likes to meddle in my relationship, so I'm going to meddle in his. And I just really like Madison this season. I think she's a lot of fun, and she's feisty, and she's going after Shep, and I kind of love that. So good for her. I do think she's too good for Austen, though. So we see Shep and I'm saying Madison too, Shep and Taylor, and it's so weird. They're just kind of like, they barely talk, and he just says, we're together, and they thumbs up each other. And that's it. That's the conversation. I get, you don't want to have it on camera, but I don't know. It was just kind of like 7th grade, like, will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? Okay, bye. So it's the day of the Persian dinner. We're at Leva's house. She's having these decorators make everything nice. Florists are there. She's cooking up a storm with her mom and making all these nice foods. Again, she introduces her son as Little. I'm kind of, am I missing it? Is that a nickname? Because she keeps calling him Little, so I'm just curious. Okay. She explains that in Persian culture, you spend all day cooking, and it's a gesture of love to show everybody you care for them. So that's what she and her mom are doing. They're cooking all day long, this beautiful feast. Looks delicious, by the way. She's cooking it for the girls, so that way they can have a nice meal together, and she can teach them about the Persian culture she comes from. So I told you this episode jumps around, right? So now we're over at Craig's. Now remember, he's living at Austen's. His assistant calls, and she's going over all the stuff he needs to do with his house and with his life and his business. And she tells him that he probably should get out of there. She says fish and house guests start to stink after 3 days. She tells him he should go find a rental. So who knows what will happen there. I don't know. They seem codependent on each other, so I doubt he's going to rush out anytime soon. So it's Leva's fancy Persian dinner. We see everybody arriving, and I was very curious how they all dressed. I thought Danny looked really cute. A lot of them did a good job with the styling and the jewelry, and look at this, by the way. I thought she did such a beautiful job on the house decor. I know somebody else did it, but damn, that looks so beautiful. I love the way those plates are set. I don't know about eating on the floor, but if it's part of her culture, that's cool. But everybody else arrives. Look at this that Madison's wearing. I kept noticing it too, that huge necklace. We find out later Patricia loaned it to her. The only one that looked a little crazy to me was Kathryn. Kathryn shows up. She's in a tiara, as you do. Kathryn always, to me, this is awful, but she always looks a little 70s porn star. That's all I can think about. Did you ever see the movie Boogie Nights? Like that Julianne Moore look. I don't know. That's what I think of. But I really like Danny's hair there. I thought that looked really pretty. And so they're having this beautiful feast. They're all sitting down. They're getting to know each other. And she talks about, what it's like to be Persian. She says her roots are very different. Oh, she explained an interesting story about her parents, how they left Iran and they cannot go back. They left when her mom found out she was pregnant with Leva. Anyway, it's just interesting to hear the backstory. So all the ladies love the food. It looks delicious. So then we go to boys' night. It's Craig, Austen, Shep, Whitney, and John Pringle. They are all having a boys' night, and Austen makes a big show about ordering trop hop. And yet, they all end up doing tequila shots as well. Ugh. Craig explains he was out last night at every bar. He was saying he needs to pace himself. And I was bummed because the first episode, he was talking about how well he's doing, how he's kind of cleaned up his act. He's doing really well with his pillows. So, come on, Craig, get your shit together. We see John Pringle hitting on girls. And it really was a huge turnoff for me. I thought he was so cute before, but he's talking to these young girls and he's talking about Justin Bieber. asking them if they like Justin Bieber. It was so cringe. So again, we're back at Leva's. So when Madison's telling everybody she borrowed that necklace from Patricia, she also tells them that Patricia showed Madison her huge diamond. It's beautiful. Huge diamond. And Madison asked to try it on for the future. And Patricia says, "You aren't getting that from Austen." And Madison says it makes her sad because she looks up to Patricia. And so she was kind of sad to hear that. So at boys' night, Madison actually comes up. Pringle is just drunk and he thinks Madison is great. He says she's hot. I gotta be honest, I had designs on her. And Austen to camera is like, "What's that?" And again, John is just digging it deeper and saying she's a smoke show. And Austin's just not happy at all about this. They end up going to a bar next door, and I don't know. What are your thoughts on Pringle here? I thought he started out cute. He got not as cute this episode because how awkward he was. And it's weird that he's telling Austen he has the thing for Madison. I understand it's a TV show, but I'm just saying it's just kind of weird to see. Like, that's the thing you keep to yourself or you tell the other guys? I don't know. Although if you tell Shep, it's getting back to Austen. So it's just interesting to see that. That's not going to help Shep either because he's jealous and wants Madison as well. So boys' nights continues, and they go next door, and they're drinking even more. We see them drinking whatever this is. They're getting a kick out of this two-straw thing and thinking they're hilarious, and we've seen it before. But Shep dares John to get on the mechanical bull, and that's where we get to see John Pringle without a shirt on, and my thoughts for John Pringle started to turn around a little bit. Started to come back around on Mr. Pringle. So back at Leva's house, everything's going great. They're having a really good dinner and a really good time. Okay. So then all of a sudden, Kathryn gets weird. She gets this text. And she says, "Gross. Thomas is such an effing liar." Yeah, it turns out that he got a girl pregnant. And he didn't just find out like I thought was happening. No, she's already like 6 or 7 months pregnant by this point. So she pulls Danny aside and talks to her about it. And they're talking about why didn't he tell Kathryn? The way she found out is her lawyer found out and he confirmed it. And Kathryn just ends up telling the table, she said, "Listen, I just found this out. I have to say it." And they ask, why wouldn't he tell her? And so she asks him that, "Why didn't you tell me?" And Thomas says, "Why would I?" My God, he's such an idiot. She said, now her kids have a sibling. And he says, "Well, it's half." So the way he found out is he found a positive pregnancy test at his house. And he says, "Well, it isn't mine." What? The story made no sense. He's just denying it. It sounds like it is his. Especially now that he's confirming. So he's such an idiot. Like, how does he think this is going to work or that babies are made? So she's bummed because she says she's been fantasizing, what if we were back together? Because she's been living in his house. So they're on different wavelengths, and she's saying, this is why we don't get along. And Kathryn says she's sad because a piece of her family was just taken away. So she's asking, what do I do? And all the girls are saying, we got you. We're going to get you out of there. Remember she inherited a townhouse. I believe it was her grandfather, somebody that had just passed. She inherited a townhouse. And so she had sad memories because her mom also just passed. And so that was her last memory there. So she's been hesitant about going to the townhouse. But now that she found this out, she's probably going to move a little faster on that. And that's how the episode ended. Everybody was in shock. They were trying to help Kathryn. Kathryn's an idiot too, though. Come on. We knew that Thomas was a sleazeball, and then we found out all the disgusting, horrible things he's accused of. Why in the hell would you stay with that man? Why would you think you had any kind of future with that awful monster? So then we get a flash to next week. It's Shep and Taylor playing tennis and talking about how they're official. It's a big deal for Shep, apparently. Welcome to Grown Up. Sounds like something went down with Pringle and Madison, where he was maybe hitting on her, flirting with her a little bit more. Then we started to see about things shutting down, COVID related. I'm dreading that. I like the escapism of not talking about COVID, but here we are. And then we see, Leva is having to make the difficult decision of what to do with her business and, how to handle the shutdowns. And it sounds like Taylor might have been exposed to COVID. Shep's not sure, so we'll see what happens there. That's it for the episode. What are you guys thinking so far? I actually enjoyed this episode a lot. I thought it was pretty good. It was interesting to learn more about John Pringle, more about Leva. And I'm still MVP is Madison for me. Just curious your thoughts. What do you think? Are you having fun with it? You want to stick with it? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for all the comments. I love reading them. You guys are so much fun. And I really appreciate everything. I read them all. Sometimes it's hard to respond, but I do read them all and I love them. Thank you guys for that. Stay tuned because I'm covering all kinds of stuff. Next week I'm starting up 90 Day Fiancé. I just started recording Ladies of London Season 2, so stick with me for that. I'm covering The Undoing, which is an amazing mini-series right now. If you like Big Little Lies, check that out. I'm covering all kinds of stuff, so check it out. And thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Oh, yeah. Also, watch Salt Lake City, Real Housewives. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I covered that one, too, so check it out. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.